Hi, welcome to Aren't You Crazy, the podcast that flips the script on the struggling artist paradigm.
We are your hosts, Tessie
And Erin Elizabeth Reed. Good to see you. You're looking so sharp.
Oh, good to see you. You're looking so amazing. It's like the Explorer, Erin the Explorer.
Yeah.
Welcome to Aren't You Crazy?
We are here today to explore, see what I did there? The topic of the necessity of destroying.
Destroy.
Tessie's favorite.
Seek and destroy.
Seek and destroy. Destroying something in order to make space to build something new.
In other words, die and transform, rebirth, transform, the phoenix that rises from the ashes and bursts. First it burns in flames and then it rises from the ashes. Because if it rises from the ashes and then it burns again, then it will have to rise from the ashes again.
Which it does, technically.
And again and again and again.
It's a bit like the chicken and the egg thing. The phoenix and the flame.
Saturn.
That could be Saturn. That could be a book title. It's mine. You heard it here first. I've claimed it.
Copyrighted. Erin Elizabeth Reed.
2024. Copyright.
C.
The phoenix and the flame. It's mine.
C
it's mine.
With a circle. C with a circle. Copyright.
I was thinking about death not that long ago.
My favorite subject.
And I got to thinking about the natural world, as I often do. And the natural world, well, we humans are part of it, but we forget that. We think we're outside of it. The rest of the natural world doesn't attach judgment to death and destruction and decay. It's all part of a cycle. And without death or decay or destruction, we cannot yet start the rest of the cycle, the regenerative cycle of creating something new. And I thought, this feels applicable to me as a creative, too. When I latch on to something that is past its prime or no longer serves me, or refuse to finish a project because it's never finished, like it's not yet perfect, then I'm blocking my own creative cycle from being able to start again.
That particular thing that you just said brought up Big Magic, the book from Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yes.
Because she talks about when creative ideas or impulses come and when they stay and when you have to release them and let them go. Or where they have been stagnant and they're just taking energetic space, bringing you to stagnation. A little bit of what you're saying in a different way. She says it in a different way. But totally.
Yeah. So Da Vinci speaking to us from the eons. Art is never finished, only abandoned. Yeah. Like, wow. What a concise, accurate statement.
Yeah.
We must just choose to let it go, to walk away.
A play is always a rehearsal, but with more experience.
Oh, yeah.
Which it goes back to the natural world, right? The same way that an animal would attack another would have to change every time with the strategy of succeeding the next time, or depending on the environment, or depending on the day, or the conditions of the climate. It's something. It's always changeable. It's always a cycle of change and evolution, birth, evolution, decay, death, and rebirth.
Yeah. And adaptation, we're constantly, just life itself, whether you're a clover or an amoeba or a cheetah or a human, life finds a way to constantly adapt. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind sometimes when I go down these pathways.
Can you think about an example that connects with you that you had to, something that you had to destroy in order to rebuild the self that you want to bring to the next stage or to your future? It can be immediate or it can be something that you've been working on for the past 10 years. I don't know.
Of the self. Instead of answering about the self, I'll answer about a specific project because that flew immediately to mind.
Good.
It was actually the quick change project that we did going on a year and a half ago now. But when I wrote the original draft of the script, I was very happy with it. It went through versions, but I had settled on a draft and I was like, nope, this is the story. And then when I started working with you and the rest of the Bijou Collective in rehearsals, I realized, and because of all of you and their fabulous feedback and questions to me, I realized, oh, this work is not done. Some of the questions were so structurally significant that I realized I couldn't just start in the middle of the play and make some minor adjustments. I really needed to go back to the beginning, back to the bones of the story. And so lighting that script on fire, metaphorically, it hurt, but I realized it was only going to serve the work better.
Okay.
If I could just forget everything that had come before and rebuild. And that's what I ended up doing. And I went through a period of some really significant writer's block at one point over it. And that was a whole other process of me learning how to talk to my characters to get them to come out of hiding, like working myself out of writer's block. Now, when I think of the play, I only think of that reborn version.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the old one anymore, living as flourishing a life as the one we ultimately came up with did.
That's so powerful. I can think about in the same realm of an artistic project of mine that's been a work in progress for a while now, the Jewels of Light. That process is not done, of course not, but it has been dormant for a while. And it hasn't been set on fire or had to be set on fire per se. But an old version of myself had to be set on fire in order to enter and accept what that project wanted to say by itself.
Oh.
I couldn't understand what that project meant until now. And it took me almost 8 years to read it in a different way. Maybe that doesn't have to be deeper or whatever, but like in the way that the project itself was wanting to be served, you know, I was looking it through a lens of a lot of maybe, I didn't see the whole potential of it before. And now, oh, wow. Does it have this? Did it have these elements? But I couldn't see that because I wasn't in that process of evolution. So there had to be some annihilation of a part of myself to discover that that process could join me in a new birthing process.
Oh, wow.
That's so strange.
But it's so beautiful. I mean, we can only ever see what we're ready to see. And that goes for our own work as well as what we perceive in other people's works. And so I think it's just a testament to your own growth as a person and an artist to then see your own work with fresh eyes. It's always exciting to me to revisit old things and see them afresh. That's really beautiful.
And to also let other projects die. I had so many ideas for some science fiction novels that I wanted to write, and I had like the whole concept of a series and everything, and it was kind of cool. And it was relevant to me at that time where I was exploring some maybe political perspectives. I found all those drafts and all those notes and everything. And I'm like, ugh, I don't connect with this anymore. Ugh, do I want to pursue this story? Do I really want to sit down and aim to write this story? Not really. So box, delete, destroy, bye.
Wow.
Gone. Not a
That's
trace
bold.
of it. Gone.
Wow.
There's nothing left of it. It's gone. I mean, it's still in my brain,
Sure.
but all of the drafts that I wrote and everything, it's just to release them. Just
wow.
like something better needs to come and take that place.
That's really powerful. I am such a hoarder when it comes to my words that even when I know a story is not going to live on, I have such a hard time letting it go. They're the layers of rock in my timeline of evolution. That was a bad metaphor. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, this is where the Cretaceous period started and the Jurassic and the, I'm like, even though they're dead and gone, it's like they're fossilized, but they tell a record of my life as a creative. But I love that you are able to just be so free with that. In the forest, in the deep forest, in the canopy, in the jungles. I'm going to go back to the natural world, where humans don't dare to touch. It's a rare spot nowadays. But when a mature tree, dies and falls, crashes to the ground, what it has done is actually has allowed sunlight to shoot more directly through the canopy onto the forest floor that it was previously blocking. And it's because of that mature trees going and falling that new growth can now race to the surface. It allows for so many more other plants to vie for their time in the sun.
Yeah, and it maybe prepares the soil and the fungi that would create the next growth of a sprout of a tree that will end up being, and the cycle will begin again.
Exactly. The tree itself becomes the fertilizer for the soil. And it's just, as I said, it's just a beautiful, harmonious cycle.
I've had so many experiences with electronics in particular, because I do have my notebooks. I'm a little bit of a notebook hoarder. Not all of it, because there's some things that I go through it and they remind me a period of myself where I was in a different place. And I've learned of that. If I can repurpose it, I will. But if it's not, I'll just either burn it or shred it. Like, bye. It's no longer a part of me. It's in my memory. It's in who I was, in my evolution, but it doesn't no longer have to take physical space. But with electronics, it has always been an imposed thing, because and I think Mel experienced it the other day, that something wasn't working in the hard drive. We were putting the episodes in my computer and my computer wouldn't read the hard drive in front of me. No matter what we did. We switch it to Rune's computer, it works perfectly. I have those problems of, I kind of like electromagnetism.
Okay.
Where, for example, I wear watches and they stop working, even if they're new. And I go and change the battery, or I go to the clockmaker and I said, what happened? Like, I bought this last week.
Yeah.
It's like, probably the battery just died or was defective. Let's change it. Happens again next week. Stops. Fully stops. My electronic Apple watches that Rune had given me stopped working. Or the battery dies after 1 hour, even if they're brand new. So I had to just release that. I have something, whenever I record a video for Instagram where I'm doing something that is related to the natural world, or that it's including a meditation or a message that might be for me alone or for other things, the Instagram or the TikTok video always disappears. So when I want to publish it, it no longer exists. I record it for the second time, it does it again. So I understand. It's like, it's not meant to be shared.
Okay.
So I learned a little bit about that not everything needs to be permanent, and that not everything needs to be out there for others to see. Not everything needs to be shared in a future museum of what Tessie and Rusty was. You know what I mean? Because I used to think that everything needs to be part of the Tessie and Rusty museum.
Right.
My life, all my records and everything. I've lost twice already, and I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to knock on wood. But twice my hard drives with all of the photos from my life and all my trips in Europe and everything, gone. Wow. Try to get them back. gone. Like I had to ask all people from childhood and everything to send me all the photos that they had.
Yeah.
I had to go through a ton of amount of photos of them, find 1 or 2 photos that I could relate to.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared again. So it was like, you are meant to keep this in your memory. You're not meant to keep this as a tangible thing that you can go back to. So I understood you have to learn to let things go. And that's kind of like maybe my trajectory in terms of learning how to let go, because it's hard for me to let go. I send an email and I can never find it again. Can you send me your hours and which date? Yeah. And I know that I didn't delete the email and it's gone. It's nowhere to be found.
Tessie is an electromagnetic black hole.
Yeah, so beware. You don't want me to save all your files. No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not going to jinx it.
Don't say that. Please don't say that.
No. Honestly, it rarely happens when I'm doing collaborative work because there's other energies involved. But when it's my stuff alone, there's always something weird that happens. It's weird.
Okay. I don't even know what to say other than...
I would love to be a hoarder of my things. Shit, like, this. And then for the 4th time that I'm doing the TikTok, and I like put myself on social media with this really magical stuff. You won't. Do you want me to delete it for you again? Permanence of things. Impermanence of things. Impermanence. Unpermanence. Impermanence. In. Impermanence.
Like our brains. This was a really good talk. I learned new things about you that I had never heard before. But I'm not surprised. I love learning new things about you. So
do I. I don't know what you were doing in your computer, and I saw the amazing encyclopedia or anthology, I would say, that you have of your written words in it. It's fascinating to me. Wow. The amount of words and work that you have done through the years. And it's beautiful. The commitment and just in your torchbearer story, the way you had written it, the analogies, the wisdom in it. What a skill.
Aww.
So be a hoarder of your stories and share them in Aren't You Crazy?
Aren't You Crazy? Well, let us know. Chime in to this episode. Are you a hoarder of your work? Do you have trouble letting projects that you know have reached the end of their lifespan? Do you have trouble letting them go? Have you repurposed them? Or are you like Tessie and have no problem just hitting that delete button or setting things on fire?
Hopefully you'll have a match that work.
All right, we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Hey,
I'm sure you love this episode. Before you go, here are 3 ways you can help us keep things crazy.
Just leave us a rating or share this episode so more people can access this content. Easy peasy, right?
Feeling ultra crazy?
Donate to the show by clicking the link provided in the podcast description or in our Instagram's bio.
I'm sure you will.
Stay crazy out there, y'all.
Stay crazy!